Hi. Today, let me take you back to March of 1998. I had a short day at work. I got home a bit early. My brother phoned me. Hey, brother, do you want to go for a bike ride today? I said, why not? It's a great day. Let's go. Packed up my stuff, driving the drive out of the driveway. And I remember looking back at our house and I saw my wife standing at the doorway. And that is the last of my recollection before the accident. I really don't remember anything else. So everything I know is that I was told after that. Needless to say, I picked up my brother. We were riding around in a park somewhere, and as we were coming out of the park, going onto the residential street, there was a large pile of dirt. And I said to my brother, hey, should I jump this? And he said, yeah, of course, go for it. So I did, and ended up, my front wheel dug into the dirt, went head first over the handlebar, flew about 15 feet or so, landed on my forehead. And as the accident was happening, there was a car driving by that the driver saw me crashing, stood up right away, and this lady saw me collapse immediately after I stood up after the accident. And she stopped, ran back to us, told my brother, call your parents, and she called 911. And then they took me to the hospital, clearly. So my mom picked up my wife to take her to the hospital. And as they're pulling up to the hospital, my wife said, just drop me off at the door right away, and you can park the car later. So my wife walking into the hospital, the emergency, and she said, I'm here to see John Paris. And the lady at the desk said, well, just hang on for a second. Let me get someone to talk to you. That's when my wife realized this is something more serious than just a broken arm or a broken leg. So she called her mom. And at the time, my sister-in-law was living with us. So when my wife left in a hurry, she left the house in a way that's just not usual. So when my sister-in-law got home, she saw the way the house was, and she had this gut feeling that something's just not right. So she called her brother, which is my wife's brother as well. Something's happened to John. Meet me at the hospital. And then he left the house in a way that's out of the ordinary. So when his wife got home, she looks around. She's like, what's going on here? It's not normal. The car is gone. She just went straight to the hospital. So everyone started showing up at the hospital just on a hunch that something is not right. Someone's got hurt in the family. I gotta go there. Everyone started showing up one by one. So everyone's at the hospital. After a little while, someone come out and they wanted to take my family into a separate room when they could talk to my family. The doctors can talk to my family about this. And my sister-in-law grabbed my wife's arm. Don't go in there. If you go in there, they're gonna give you some bad news you don't want to hear. My wife said, no, no way. So everyone went into that room, sitting there waiting. And after a little while, a doctor came out and said to my wife that they're still working on me, they're still working on John. They want him to stabilize him. And that's when the doctor told her that I've broken my back in 3 different places, T3, T9, and L4, as well as I broke my nose, my orbital bones, some of my nasal cavity was broken, all the way back to my occipitalis. Um, Severe head injury because I landed on my forehead. So they just had to stabilize me enough that they can medevac me over to the mainland, because we're living on the island at the time. So they can airlift me over to the Vancouver hospital for the brain and spinal unit. So a little while later, nurse came out, told my wife, "It's okay, you can come in, see John." My mother-in-law suggested to her that she should go with her so she won't be alone. She said, "Of course, great, please come with me." They came into the room. There was 5 beds, only 2 of them occupied. My wife started going towards one that looked less of an injury, and the nurse corrected her, "Oh no, you gotta go to the other one, that's John on the other side," with all kinds of equipment hooked up to him. They patched me up enough, getting me ready to medevac. My wife couldn't believe the state I was in, of course, lots of bruising as well. It was a quick visit. They have to do some more work on me to get me ready for the medevac. And my wife's mom said to her, "I think it's time to call your dad." She said, "Yes, yes, please, let's call my dad." And my father-in-law was working quite a ways away, 17, 18-hour drives away. So it's a long drive. Of course, they got a hold of him. He said, "Absolutely, I'm finishing work and I'm leaving immediately." Takes a while to get there. Like I said, it is quite a ways away. My wife couldn't stay long to see me. They had to get me ready for the medevac. Unfortunately, they informed her that she is unable to come on the flight with me due to the fact that my injuries are too severe. So she had to wait until next day morning, to take the ferry over, because we lived on the island. So she had to take the ferry over to the mainland. My mother-in-law, my sister and my wife went together, and my side of the family as well went to the other hospital. Once they get to the hospital, my wife immediately got out of the car, went right into the emergency, because that's where I was. They were deciding if they're going to take me to the brain injury unit or to the spinal injury unit. So they decided to take me to the brain injury unit to see how they can help me there. While I was in the brain injury unit, of course I couldn't talk. I had breathing tubes in, and my wife came, sat down beside me, and she was saying, "John, do you remember me? Do you know who I am?" And I just put my hand up, and I was trying to feel her face, just trying to see what she looks like. And then she asked me if I remember that she's pregnant. And I just put my hand on her belly, to feel her belly. My wife was relieved that I did recognize her with my hands, and I remember that she was pregnant with our child. And I was keep gesturing to remove the tubes. Of course, they couldn't at that time. Once they realized that I can't have a surgery, they did remove the tubes, and that's when I could finally say, "Please turn on the lights. It's really dark in here. I can't see. Turn on the lights." And the doctors came in, and that's when everyone realized that I was blind. This is John Paris, still standing.